Welcome back to Let's Try Axiom Verge. Today is the day that we go out and investigate the item that there is to get. Of note today is that this is all going to be post-commentary. Because the raw footage for this was several hours long, and that's not something I can keep live commentary up for. So I'm going to be commenting on everything we encounter as we encounter it. This is actually... I did say that I was going to try to find a guide or some such if I needed it. However, I actually only needed it for very, very few items. The vast majority of these I actually found entirely of my own. The previous one, this one I found just because I tend to have a penchant for trying to dash into open areas. If I see there's an open area there that maybe I can go through a wall to get in, I'm gonna try to get in there. So this one was fairly easy to find, as was the previous one, if only because the previous one you saw there was a little path up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen that looked like your little drone could get in. Now, granted, I was spending most of this time trying to find the additional room, because I knew I was missing a little bit of map in this area, and I was trying to figure out where that was. And here, once I got in here, I was just trying to figure out how... because I felt like I didn't get in here how you were supposed to get in here, so I was trying to figure out how you were supposed to get in here. This is another one that I, again, found entirely on my own. The vast majority of these I did. I actually fell once before, but I managed to shoot a drone up here high enough just to be able to see that there was something up here. It just felt awkward that this platform would go out halfway out and then stop. So I managed to shoot a drone up here and it went, oh yeah, there is something up here. I was still having trouble figuring out how to get in, but there was... Turns out you could just dash into that thing, as I found. This one took me a while to find, and to be honest, I'm not sure why it took me so long. That little bit of wall looked a little odd, and as it turns out, you can just walk straight through it. It's just a door hidden. Like, it looks completely out of place compared to everything else in the area, so... I'm surprised it took me so long to find that one. But that should do it for Eden, I believe. Okay, moving on to the next area. Here, this is another one that I actually knew of prior, and found this pretty easily. I had previously gotten the item in the middle, and I noted the bit up top that I just couldn't reach and would have to come back to later, so I saw this almost as soon as I got here. And as it turns out, there's quite the expansive area in here. Now here, I recalled that these guys would actually turn into platforms, they would turn into solid blocks, so I was trying to corrupt them to take care of that. Of course, the guy out there in the jelly was just being annoying. This would have helped considerably if I'd remembered that I could have just address bombed them all, but I didn't. So I was trying to hand corrupt all of them for a long time, because sometimes I'm just not that bright. Okay, I poo around in here for a very long time, so let's skip ahead to a point where I'm actually getting somewhere. Now, I mean, I ran to the far left up here, and I knew there was going to be something over here. You're not going to put a secret room in that leads to a dead end. So, rammed my head against the wall, and eventually found a little drone pad. Actually, I don't know if it was well, maybe it was a drone pad. I don't think you could have fit in full size. Surprisingly, this is actually quite the expansive little area. Like hidden back here. And at the base of this, we find the Tethered Charge, which will become my favorite weapon. It's just quick, it's got area, it works like the... I forget what it's called. The Varange is the area, like the wide area spreading one. A Kelver. Like, it's kind of like a Kelver on a string. I don't think it's as powerful as the Kelver, but it's nice. Especially because you can whip this thing around. Now here I'm turning around because I'm stupid. But I saw that I could just walk out of this, and I went, could I just walk in from here? And I came in and I saw the laser things, and I went, alright, there's a switch that I hit as soon as I came in that I already forgot about, and that switch did the thing. Now, just while looking around, because I didn't have very far to complete this loop. Mostly trying to see if I remember anything. Just let me whip this thing around. And I'm not entirely sure why, but I felt like there was going to be... I'm just looking at this gun whipping around. I felt like there was going to be something in the left hole over there. And as it turns out, there was. Very easily, in fact. To get in here, you could honestly get in here with almost anything. You could maybe even jump up from, yeah. The freaking high jump boots you can get up here. But just hidden completely off screen. I kind of had the feeling there was something in here, but honestly, this one was one of the more obscure ones. Like, if there was something that I just wasn't going to find, this would probably be a good one. Now, a little bit higher up in the outdoor area of this, again, I have a penchant for trying to get into open areas. And I saw that open area, tried to get in. The thing to the left was super suspicious, and it looks like you'd get in there from up top here, but nothing I did up here seemed to work. Like, I'm trying to shoot everything I have at that little thing to try to get in there, and eventually I just said, fudge it, and went in. A lot of the secrets in this game are reasonably, even if they're well hidden, per se, a lot of them have at least some degree of hint that something is going to be here. So as opposed to just ramming your head against every wall, there's... If you just keep your eyes open, you'll be able to at least get a hint for most of them. This is a nice laser, by the way. I think I still prefer the default beam over that one, but that one was nice. We finished up the last area, by the way, and this one I would not have found. I should say, I did find this one, but I found it by accident. And if not for that accident, I would not have found this one. You saw me hop down there and dash down into that open area. And that's because, as I said, I have a penchant for dashing into open areas that maybe I can't get into. And I just happened to be close enough to that wall to break that wall, which told me, hey, there's something up there, so I went up and found it. If I hadn't just accidentally chosen that spot to try to dash down into those open things, I probably wouldn't have found that one. There was no visual clue at all for that one. This one was, again, I knew there was something here. Like, just that little hole in the ceiling was super suspicious. So I knew there was going to be something up there, but I had no idea what. So of course that's when you just start throwing everything you have at it. And I believe that's actually all for this area. Well, almost all for that area. This one as well was exceptionally difficult to find for me. I think I honestly... I forget if I found this one by accident or on purpose. What clued me into this one was just that 3x4 thing of blocks. As I discover, I can actually just walk to the right here and go through these, and you're intended to go in that way, but I don't know if I would have figured that one out. I did manage to go in the other way, though. This one as well. This one, I actually had to see on the guide. I would not have found this one on my own, at all. Just because I would not have gone up onto that upper platform, and had I even gone onto that upper platform, I wouldn't have gone up there and then jumped. This one I found on my own, though, just because the large chunk of solid blocks up there tipped me off. The guide I used, by the way, was it was simply a map made by Sir Tap Tap. It had the completed map laid out with white dots for where all the items were. It was as bare bones and unhelpful as could be. It told me if I couldn't find a secret room, it told me where the room was, but not how to get to it. It also then told me where an item was, but not how to get to it. All I knew was that somewhere in this area was an item. Now we saw this one, we actually saw the item down there, and I cut out my ramming my face against that for a little while before I realized that there were these... a reasonably visible string of blocks going horizontally across. So I made my way around and got that one. But thus far, only one of these I actually had to look at that mapped for. Really? Just one? Well, maybe I'll be another one. I could have sworn there was 2, maybe 3 that I actually had to look up. Yes, actually there was. Right here was another one that I had to look up. I knew there was something in this upper right corner, but I didn't know where, so I just start ramming everything against everything until I found that wall was breakable. Just because there was no visible clue up there, and I saw nothing more than that single platform, which didn't mean anything to me. So I probably wouldn't have gone up here and tried ramming against the wall on my own. Even if that platform was some degree of a hint. That one I couldn't find that one on my own. This one, however, I did. Because, as I mentioned, I have a penchant for trying to get into places if I can see I can get into them. And in coming in here, I found a health node. Oh no, power node, my mistake. Back at the very beginning of the game, this is where you first picked up the Axiom Disruptor. I knew there was going to be something here. There's no way they're going to put this hallway in and then have, like, for the first 3 seconds of the entire game, and then never have you ever go back to it. I knew there was going to be something over here, but I had no idea what. As it turns out, there was. This stupid light bulb had come closer to me. And this is one of the areas that I actually kind of wish I had done live commentary for, but I didn't know it was going to open up into such an elaborate area. But there's a lot of stuff in here that almost requires most of the items in the game, like each one individually, to get through this area. At the end here, you find a note that looks a little bit different from the others. And it appears to be a note from Trace when he first arrived on Sudra. And I didn't notice it when I entered the room, but I saw on the way out the wheelchair that he would have been in, that he could then just walk away from. Now, there were actually 2 doors, so we've got to backtrack a little bit and go in the other door. Want to make sure you can disrupt things or potentially go through 3 blocks. There's a little more water in here, and we've seen those horrible things before. Obvious health node or power node or node of some kind. This game has very little of that water in it. And I guess it struck me as a little bit odd that they would do something like put in a breath meter. So when you're underwater, you can't hold your breath forever. The little gauge will go down. I find it odd that he went to the trouble of putting in that gauge as an elaborate little thing when that room we just left had more water in it than anywhere else in the game. Okay, so we've got the little exploding worms up there. Managed to disrupt him, thank goodness, which means he explodes into health and not pain. These guys can actually be disrupted, you just have to use the address bomb in order to do it. But I'm not entirely sure what that changes. Maybe they have a little bit less health. Nothing else really seems to do anything. So that was overall a horrible room, but we managed to get through without too much trouble. I should have address bombed these guys. Oh, I did! I remember having so much trouble with these guys, and like never being in a good position to like disrupt them. So I just fight them head on, and it's just a hateful battle. When I should just address bomb them. Got an item up there, I can't figure out how to get to it. With the tools I have at my disposal, I actually can't get to it. But with that said, that actually brings us to the end of the post-commentary, so Live Naka will be taking over here in just a moment. There are only 2 areas left that don't have something that I want. And these 2 areas contain the most devious puzzles in the game. You guys have told me this in checking how to actually do these. Yeah, it is. What it is, see, is I was not incorrect in this room. And this is not something I ever would have figured out on my own. But if you happen to see this pillar over here, and I was onto this pillar, if you scan it, and this didn't occur to me, but if you scan it, you see in the upper right, in the garbage data while I'm scanning, you see Iki Bula Biru. Keep that in mind. Because we gotta take that and go over to this room. With these 4 lasers, you simply cannot get through. And in this room, we now have to go to the password screen, where we put in IKK IBU LABIRU. I put it in. I suppose it makes slightly more and simultaneously less sense in that you actually have to use it in this one. Can I just do this? Oh. I was expecting it to whoops. I was expecting it to deactivate the lasers, not make a door spawn. But okay. These guys are rough. Like, these guys actually put up they take a couple hits. Now that one, I was on to. I had the idea. Like, I knew something, god dang, I knew something was up with that guy, or with that, thing. That weird pillar. It just didn't occur to me that, like, hey, there's actually something showing up in the garbage data over there when you scan. And you do even use it in the same room. So I suppose it makes sense then. Like, had it occurred to me that it was there and a password, I probably... I mean, I would have figured it out from there. I knew something was up with that. But honestly, that's just not something I would have. I would not have figured that one out on my own. Okay, there we go. We get to loop around. Get a stupid power node fragment. Lasers are off. We can move on with our lives. You may also recall this room that I ran through a moment prior. Technically, I don't have any way of getting this one yet. This password is actually given to you in one of the notes that you get in here. I don't actually have it yet. I don't know what it says otherwise. I'm getting this now just so I don't have to backtrack later on next video. But you will get a note that gives you this password. I don't know how encrypted that password is, or whether or not it even tells you where to use it, but this is it. And this is where you put in the next one. This one is DINGERGISBAR. And the door opens, getting us a fancy new weapon. Flamethrower. Got a lot of weapons. Now, since I'm technically not supposed to have this yet, I'm not really going to use it. To be honest, I don't know how cool I am with it anyway. What this laser, though, man? Nah, I think I'm going to stick with this one. If I could friggin' select it. The third of these is still in Arabu. In fact, there's 4 total. 3 of them are in Arabu. And this last one is right here. This is another one I never would have figured out in a million years. It's another passcode you have to enter. I suppose after I realized that passcodes were a thing, and that they would be hidden throughout the world, and I would be looking for them, if I figured that out, maybe I would have pieced some of these together. But for the most part, no. You'll see directly above me is a couple scried letters in the wall. These letters are actually in ancient Sudran. So what you do, see, is you go over here, you find one, say, public notice, and you write down what this says. Or take a screenshot, I guess, that works too. Then you come over here to reveal Sudran, deactivate it, and take a screenshot of this one. Now you compare letters and figure out what letter is what. Now once you know what letter is what, you can decode what those letters up top say and add it in as another passcode. Once decoded, this one is DALKHUSUBTUM. And our path is open. And I see something fancy right up there. I don't know where I'm going. Where am I going? Killing everything is what I'm doing. Up all y'alls. Alright, well, let's give it a shot. Oh, look at that thing go! That's kind of neat. It's a little gimmicky for my taste, but look at that crap go. Oh, that's especially good, like, if you want to hit a guy around a corner. Like, you're hiding down here, and you just want to go like, there's a guy over there. Go get him! That's neat. Okay, so those are the 3 passwords in Arabu. There's still one remaining, and of the passwords in Arabu, I was on to a couple of them. I think when I was in this room in the first place, I saw the letters carved in, but I didn't think anything of them. I figured it was just a texture. I knew something was up with that Metroid bar, the Zebatite, up in the other room. But putting all of it together to realize when I scan that Zebatite bar, the thing shows up in the junk data. That gets put in as a password. Figuring out here, oh, that text is in ancient Sudran. Figure out what it is in English, put that code in. In a million years, I wouldn't have figured these out. We're yet to see if I would have figured the flamethrower one out. Oh yes, and that's it too. We're done in Arabu. Got all the lights and everything, which means only all that's left is Akma. And that one dumb block that I can't get on screen. Last but not least, the way you get the passcode to this one, by the way, remember how when I scanned these guys... Hey, dang it. Hey, get back here. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Oh, I can't even see him from up here. Remember how when I scanned these guys... Hey, you're not supposed to be able to get up here. I made note of the letters on them. I, once again, never in a million years would have guessed that those letters had meaning. You watch those letters, and in the order they appear is yet another passcode that you enter right here. Oh, I'm gonna have to actually delete one. This passcode, having watched through all of them, is ISKARTEHANZU. Oh, it opens up down there. Gotta go around the long way. Now that I'm like half dead. From letting these guys just ram into me for a while. So many guns. I think somebody in the comments said that it'd be really cool if you could, like, combine guns a la Super Metroid. And, like, combine, say, the directness of one with the way the other one explodes at a distance and make your own little combinations of them. And that'd be some cool stuff, yo. Okay, now for this, what do we get? The Quantum Variegator. Variegator. Oh, what the crap, look at that thing go. It said randomly, so it's probably not even trying to home in, it's just like effectively a random spread gun. That's pretty neat. I don't know, maybe I'll shoot this one around for a little while. And that is Akma completed. So we've 100%ed all of the areas. All that's left for us now is going up into terrain. Unless, of course, I was so inclined as to try to track down the other glitch areas. I'll think about it. Until next time, everyone.